What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Grace Jones. And we're coming back for a bonus tune included in the expanded edition or deluxe edition of Nightclubbing. I went back looking for some bonus tunes related to living my life, and I noticed there is I think it's a 7-inch, maybe it's a 12-inch mix in the folder as well. Shout out to Mark. But then I checked, there was a track outside that folder in the Grace Jones larger folder, and it was a cover of a Tubeway Army track I've reacted to, and which I enjoyed a lot, and which was very Gary Numan, which is to say, me, exclamation point, I disconnect from you. So when I reacted to that one, not only did I enjoy the intense but also compelling and alluring sounds, the mixture of heavier sounds with electronic and synth-based melodies, but yeah, I appreciated a lot of the comments that I saw. A number of folks were really fond of the tune. I think Mark said he used to play it constantly, and there was, I forget who it was in relation to him, but someone had to hear it a bunch of times because he kept playing it, so that amused me as well. As someone who grew up listening to punk rock and techno and music that neither people in my family, with the exception of my brother, or some of my friends from high school who were more into, in some cases, punk rock, but just different styles than I was listening to, and they always like, man, you listen to crazy music, so I appreciated that anecdote. In any case, we're going to listen to Me, I Disconnect Myself, Grace Jones' cover of it, knowing her sonic terrain, which admittedly I've heard some different styles and sounds across the course of a couple albums from her, but I've heard a lot of reggae-influenced sounds, a lot of funk, as well as a bit of soulful sonic atmosphere, so I would expect maybe the post-punk synth sound of the original to be translated into a slightly different sonic idiom. Either way, I'm curious to hear what Grace does with it, so let's find out. This is Grace Jones and her cover of Tubeway Army's Me, I Disconnect From You. Deep piano line. That moment is so great.
The alarm rang for days. You could tell by
details. And that bird style synth. Most of the sounds I heard there had an analog in the original by Tubeway Army, Gary Numan, but definitely some re-rendering. That wicked dissonant synth, it had a more haunting atmosphere here. It was a bit more intense and not necessarily frightening, but alarming in the original, although I still loved it there. And again, as someone who listens to techno with really wicked dissonant synths, that's very much the territory my brain and ears enjoy. But here it was a bit more sonorous, if still dissonant, if that makes sense. And it had more of a haunting feel. And yes, definitely some reggae funk vibes. And I was thinking as I was listening, reggae was more the atmosphere, the sonic location that my brain heard that in, but it definitely had some funk too. So would that be reggae funk or funk reggae? I would think funk reggae. Like, I would think the second term is the noun and the first term is the modifier or the adjective, so funk reggae, but maybe it would be reggae funk. Either way, definitely took it into sonic territories that she works in that I was more or less expecting. But even so, hearing it the first time it moved into that smooth reggae section was fantastic. And then I'm concentrating on all the rapid fire cycling percussion sounds, the guitar strumming, the piano line, the other organ sort of keyboard. And then it cleaned up again and went back into that reggae section. It was just as good the second time. So, really love that. Great cover. I'll give Numan and Tubeway Army credit for the original, but if I heard that one first, Grace's version, maybe that would become my favorite even if I heard the Tubeway one later, which maybe is a product of the way my brain works. I've talked about this before with classical reactions. Different orchestras and conductors will perform a famous symphony with slightly different tempo, slightly different emphasis in different places. And for whatever reason, if my brain hears a piece for the first time, that's the way it quote-unquote should be performed. So then if I hear it with a different composer, a different conductor, different orchestra, and they play it differently, maybe on a critical sense, and as far as music aficionados go, that might be the superior version, but it'll still sound weird to me because I heard the other performance first. So again, it's hard for me to compare whether I like that more or less than the Tubeway version because I heard that one first, but I really think she does a great cover, a great translation of it into her own sonic world. So shout out to Grace. Let me know what you think. Big shout out to Mark again for sharing, and I will see you next time. Peace.